All right, Parashat Vayeshev. Parashat Vayeshev starts with the description of young lad Yosef. And the Pasuk says, Ele toldot Yaakov, these are the stories of Yaakov, Yosef ben 17 shana, haya ro'et achiv batzon. He was 17 years old when he was a shepherd, והוא נער את בני בלעה ואת בני זלפן אשר אביו. A question needs to be asked, why are we concentrating on Yosef? I mean, didn't Yaakov Avinu had other children? And, everybody knows, everybody says, I grew up I had a hard childhood, things were not so easy for me when I was young. When you told people about how was your childhood, please, listen, do me a favor, I don't want to be reminded of that, don't, let's not talk about it. I don't want to go back there. In a way, these are words and sentences that are trying to put a certain curtain over a hard period or a difficult period in your time. Sometimes the period of time is quite painful. However, the tendency of people is really to disregard it as something that is not valuable. The question is to be asked, could you really and should you really erase those years? Okay, should really push it away. On the other hand, you have people that, despite the difficulties and the hardship, they were able to grow and they were able to develop. I think it's stuck, Ethan. Yeah, I think it's stuck. Let's just leave it now. It's stuck. Yeah. So, as the Chazal said, "En Adam omed al divrei Torah, ela im ken ta'a b'hem." A person could not see the truthfulness and understand what Torah tells us unless you failed. And that is in Masechet
Gittin.
Wow, Idan. Daf?
Samach He?
Amud?
Bet.
Very good. Yofi. Sometimes failure itself and falling down is what makes us stronger to deal with challenges of life. As Rabbi Tzadok says in Tzidkat HaTzadik, "Al yedei hamichshala הוא מבין שלקח נוצר לתקן את אותו דבר." By failing, by difficulties, one understands that that's why he came here, to fix that matter, whatever it is. Eitan, please have. And sometimes that stumbling block is life itself, the nisyonot, the test which we face, and not necessarily only the spiritual test, but also the way he was into the family in which he was born, his bodily shape, his family, the brothers, friends, his environment around him. That is also a challenge that a person has to overcome, not only spiritual stuff. The question is, how in the world, or where in the world, we're supposed to take this ability, the power, the strength to deal with such difficulties? And especially a guy like Yosef, he's 17 years old. Maybe this shiur, this lesson, is not just about Parashat HaShavua, but also as a reminder or a hint to have, thank you, to have balanced educational interactions of parents and children, and how we can learn from that. I don't want to focus on why did the brothers sell it, why they didn't sell it. We dealt with this a million times and times, many times before. Let's try to learn from that something personal that we ourselves can grow and develop.
Amen.
There's also some tea there if you want. 17 years old, these are the years in which really the shape or the character or his personality of Yosef is really being formed, we're taking shape in his father's house. Yosef grew up with Yaakov, right? That really taught him Torah. Yaakov, everybody went to work. Yaakov sat at home with Yosef, and they learned Torah. He taught him to have emunah. He taught him to have internal look and observation, and to look and to value. And this is in a way what helped them in a place like Egypt that was the opposite of Kedusha, opposite of holiness. There's absolutely filth there and impurity. You can have second and thirds today also. There is plenty over there. And when those tests came, Yosef saw the image of his father, as the Gemara tells us in Masechet.
Sota.
Wow! Daf?
Tet.
Lamed Vav. Amud?
Ben.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The years of his childhood are what gave him basically the ability not to fall into depression and despair and basically overcome this. So we need to pay attention to what exactly Yaakov was doing with Yosef. And that would help Yosef not to allow the wrongdoing or the bad actions of others shape his life and shape him. Now, I'm sure all could relate to it one way or another, either on a personal level or things that we saw, people that we know, how a good kid all of a sudden becomes, call it a bad kid, or goes off the path because he was exposed to this environment or the other. The question is, why? I think we might get to some idea in this week's parasha. Life gives all of us challenges. All of us challenges, all the time. However, the years of your childhood, and I was talking the year of your childhood into your teenage, adolescence, years, we all experience difficulties. Even if we did not fall and went into a nosedive, we all had our own difficulties during those years, and there is a meaning in every stage by itself. So how not to break, how not to fail, how to succeed regardless of all. So we need to understand that any suffering, whether it's a small suffering or a large suffering, any difficulty could really serve us as like water that nourish your roots. And instead of drying out, you need to have this attitude. We need to really grow and develop and become fruitful. And that's what it means, fruitful and multiply, not necessarily just to have kids. To be fruitful is to be a person that does things that are good things in this world. And let your actions also multiply. Just as much as we had to go to the furnace of Egypt as a nation, because only there we could forge ourselves, Yosef also had to go through it. Yosef did not have perfect life. but he understood that all the difficulties in his life gave him the ability to become strong and stronger. All he needed to do is to realize it and to act upon it, and not to lay on your back and give up. All the difficulties that he went through really helped him form and shape him to who he became. Rav Hirsch stands on these words, and the words when he says Ben 17 Shana, when he was 17 years old, and he explains that there emphasizes the years of your youth, even though that they look pointless, because as we say, oh, he's a teenager, let him grow up already, right? Even though it seems pointless, that's the wrong way to look at it. These are the years that really shape your life. These are the years that really determine who you will be as an adult. And maybe we should change the way that we look at adolescents and people that I know that at that age. We were all 17 years old, right? At one point or another. We were all teenagers at one point or another. And these are the years that are the foundation for our future. Rav Hirsch continues and says that the first years are a reflection of what the person will be in the future. It is the material, the building blocks in which you will build the building of one's life, of your life. Those years with all the challenges give mankind the appropriate tools to deal with whatever comes later on in the future as an adult. Even when a person fails or makes a mistake, he can use that as a tool, as an opportunity to grow and develop. And if we look at Yosef, we understand how every stage of his life, even the most difficult of all, really at the end led him to become the second in command in Egypt. Right? Second to the king. Even there, he did not forget and abandon the values in which he got at home. But, or what we call the internal power, right? The internal integrity that we have. Yaakov understood that he has to be, and that's something that we all parents need to understand. He, as a parent, had to be present and show presence in his child's life. You cannot have kids and let somebody else raise them. You cannot grow kids out of osmosis. You need to be present in your kid's life all the time. If you don't want to be present, if it takes too much work, you should have thought it beforehand and not have kids. The problem today is the parents don't want to be present in their children's life. They send the kids to school, hoping the school will educate them. And that's, by the way, well, we see it today, how the school system become corrupted, that corrupted our children with all kind of crazy ideas and deliberately trying to do that. Why? Not because the schools are evil, because we as parents left a vacuum of parental presence in our children's life. Kids need to have solid figures. Kids need to have a father. Kids need to have a mother. Kids don't need two fathers. Kids don't need two mothers. Kids don't need vacuum. They need balanced exposure and presence of parents in their lives. Yaakov knew that. Yaakov knew that. That's why he was with Yosef. He was sitting there and teaching him. He was learning with him. He was teaching him. He was giving him. How many times have you spoken to your children about this and that? How many times have you spoken, or you have your parents spoken to you? Did you ever spend time with your kids? Spend time with your kid when they're young. Spend time with your kids when they're old. If you're not going to spend time, I'm not saying become your kid's friend. You're not their friends, and your parents are not your friends. They are your parents, and you are their parents of your kids. But be a parent. Be a father. Show presence. Because you don't know where would life take your child. What are you giving to this child to deal with this outside? What? Education from school? Do you know what the teacher goes into their heads? Even if you have the best teacher, it's not good enough. You need to have a role model, somebody the kids could look up to. I think today I got one of the biggest compliments in my life. I spoke to my mother. I speak to her every day. I spoke to my mother, and my mother says to me, "It's amazing. It sounds like your father is talking out of your mouth." He says, "The same thing that you're telling me, that's how your father used to say." We were talking about different things. And I said, "Well, that's a great compliment. My father was a great man." I'm not saying you have to spend with your kids day and night, but you got to be present in your kid's life. That's why you cannot have too many drinks on the Shabbat table. Because when you're going to get a little tipsy, your kid is going to see that. Then you don't have time for him. That's why you should not be going on vacation and leave your kids with babysitting. Or you want to be alone with your wife? Not a problem. You should have done this before you got married. And be a good boy, and then you can be alone with your wife after they get married. But then don't forget, then you have grandkids. They need you too. My grandson calls me every day. He wants to say good night to abuelo. Every night he calls me. To the WhatsApp, he shares with me his milk and passy. You don't want to do that? Don't have kids. Don't have kids. Again, what are we doing for our kids to succeed in life? Nothing. You let a babysitter raise your kid? When the mother's sitting there at home doing absolutely nothing, she needs a babysitter to take care of her kids. How long do you have with your kids an uninterrupted, time? I'm not talking if you have to work, you have to work. I mean, you have to put bread on the table. But how much time do you have? Do we make this cheshbon? Do we take this into account when we raise our kids? Let's say the wife brings more money than the husband. Let's say the wife is a doctor and the husband is, I don't know, whatever he is. Shoemaker. Why can't the father stay home and be present for his kid? It's okay. He's not a parent. You can't because you're a man, so it's your ego? You should not have kids. And however, Yaakov failed in the understanding that he felt that he needs to keep Yosef well protected from the environment, for the world outside. He guarded him like a precious diamond. That's also a mistake. You need to have balance. When Yosef goes out after the commandment of his father told him to go look for your brothers, right? It says, "Vayimtzayehu ish basadeh," and the Midrash tells us, ta'ah. He says Yosef was not only ta'ah taf ayin hey, but rather ta'ah tet ayin hey. He was wrong about everything. Yosef was wrong about everything. What does it mean? Even though that all his life he sat down and he learned with his father the creation, the secrets of creation, Yosef did not understand them and did not know how to apply them. That's why he grew up in the greenhouse, in this protective oxygen tent that his father prevented him. He was the good boy. However, that change occurs when when Yosef is being thrown into the pit. He's thrown into the pit. According to the Midrash, it says there's akrabim v'nachashim. There are snakes and scorpions over there. At that point, Yosef understands that something is not working the way it should work, and he needs to change. And as a proof for that, once he realized that, and that will answer what you talked to me in the car, as a proof to that, immediately after that, all of a sudden we have a convoy over Ishmaelim. Ishmaelim are Arabs, no Palestinians. By the way, I'm just going to tell you something. You know, I'm very annoyed. If you're going to do a search in Wikipedia on Talmud Yerushalmi in Hebrew, you're going to get absolutely accurate description of what it is. But in English, and you should protest to this stupipedia, they say that the language of the Yerushalmi is Jewish Palestinian Aramaic. And that's baloney. Now, I told you something, those of you here and those of you who are watching, go do something about it. This is how slowly they're brainwashing you. Now those Ishmaelim, they came on camels, they came from the mountains of Gilad, and they're carrying perfumes. Now, and what they carry, Nachaot, Vetzori, Velot, Rashi explains why the Pasuk tells us what they carry. Why do I care what the Ishmaelim carry? It says to tell you the Matan Scharam Shel Tzadikim, to tell you the reward of righteous people, because the Ishmaelim usually don't carry spices, they don't carry fragrances, they don't carry herbs, they carry kerosene, neft, which is smells. And for that, because of Yosef, because he realized something was wrong, he decided to change. Everything was changed for him as well. And here Yosef becomes the tzaddik, right? This is how Yosef, the regular Yosef, becomes Yosef the tzaddik. He understands, as we say, rabot raot. There's a lot of bad, wrong doing in the world. Right? And at the end, umikulan yatzilenu Hashem. Hashem will save you to all. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that His endless giving, created a perfect world, a perfect universe. But when everything is perfect, we get tired of it very quickly. We get tired of it very quickly. And that's why Rabot Raot, in a place that was giving us the opportunity to turn darkness into light, and by doing so become tzaddikim, apropos Hanukkah, which is next week, right? This is when we choose to be. We choose to be those who turn darkness into light. We recognize the bad, we recognize the darkness, and then we're changing into light. Now, going back into the wrongdoing, of course, what brought us the whole entire thing is the dream of Yaakov, the Chalom of Yosef. Now, Chalom of Yosef is a dream, right? It's a dream. A dream is a dream is a dream. But the Perush of Yosef, the way he interpreted the dream, was wrong. Why? Because of his strength and the attention that he got from Daddy, he thought, after all, that he is the center of the world. He is the center. And he's in the center for one reason and one reason only, for everybody to serve him. Right? For everybody to serve him. That's what it is. That's why he fell into great difficulties. Only when Yosef understood that he is in the center, in order for him to serve others, only then he's able to become second to the king. That's true to us as well. We need to give our kids the ability, we need to give them chores and tasks, so they'll learn to give from themselves to others. so they won't be narcissists, so they won't be selfish, so they won't be entitled. Because if you don't allow your child to take part in chores in the home, in doing things for others, you're basically ruining your child's life. He's going to have a very difficult time being married. And he will have a very difficult time growing up or raising kids, because he never got used to do anything for himself. That's why going to the military is a good thing. Going to the military is a good thing. It helps you to do chesed, and that's what Chazal tell us all the time, Gemilut Chasadim. You are there to help. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you the tools to help. And that's the mistake that Yaakov made with Yosef. Only when he saved them, everybody was in the field, he was not working, he was learning. I don't know, to me it sounds like the kollels in Israel, the system kollels in Israel. I don't think ultimately it's a good thing. We all have to learn, but there's a way to learn too. And it's really upsetting to see, especially the Sfaradim now, becoming so hardcore about not being a part of society that it's making me sick to my stomach. I don't care. Everybody, if somebody doesn't like it, go drink cold water and move on. I don't care. I'm telling you the truth. That's what I feel. And we need to understand that. We're here to help people. We're not there for ourselves. Because if you want to know what's the greatest curse for a person, is what I told Avner, I told Idan, the greatest curse for a person is to be alone. To be alone and lonely. Because why? Why are you alone and lonely? If you're a person that care about everybody and cared and gave, you're always going to have people around you. People want your closeness. People want your vibe. But if you're there only for yourself, why would anybody come near you? Why would anybody remember you? So when you're selfish and entitled, at the end, nobody wants you. And you're alone. And you're lonely. And at the end, it will be even your kids will forget about you. Because you're selfish. You're a narcissist. You have chevre, you have guys. Get out of your way from time to time. I'm not saying all the time, but from time to time, do something. Contribute. What are you sharing there? Text? What are you sharing there? I don't like telephones. And then you wonder why everybody goes on vacation and nobody bothers to pick up a phone and call you. But where were you all the time? That's exactly what happened with Yosef and the brothers. The problem is with us, we don't show presence with our kids, and yet we choose to control them by protecting them from everything around. And that's what we get in our times today. And that's very sad. And Yosef understands that if he dreams to become a king, you got to work for it. It's not like, your father was a king, you automatically become a king. Your father was an admor, a holy man, made himself holy, or he dies, you become holy too. No, it doesn't work like this. That's why a lot of people didn't like Hasidim so much. The whole concept behind it. You got to work for it. You want to be a king, you got to work for it. When he was sold to Potiphar, instead of crying for himself, right? What does he do? He immediately adapts to his new situation in order to benefit the maximum out of that. The most he can get out of it, adaptation, as Einstein said, that the size of intelligence is being measured by the ability to adapt to new situations and the ability to change with them. So if you think that you're still stuck somewhere in caveman's territory, I don't think it's a great indication for your intelligence. You might have a lot of brain power, but you're doing absolutely nothing with it. the ability of Judaism to always adapt to new situation, to new challenges, and to make the best out of it, made Jewish people very smart people. But once they stop adapting, when they stop doing all these things, it becomes stupid. Yes, and there are some stupid Jewish people too. How do you prevent this? You need to have the realization that Yosef had. However, since he became very, very close, in a short time he became the manager of all Potiphar's business, right? He said, okay, Baruch Hashem, we made it. I'm CEO now, CFO, whatever. What did he start to do? He started putting curls in his hair, putting these things, maybe a little bit Brazilian waxing here and there, all this stuff like this. What happens to him? Bam! Wife of Potiphar comes. She, because he became a little bit arrogant and impressed with himself. Comes the wife of Potiphar and takes over him, and then all of a sudden he finds himself where again? In the pit. Back again into the pit. But over there, so slowly, he becomes all of a sudden the chief of the pit, right? He becomes right? Why? Because we say, Sheva pe'amim yipol tzadik vekamu reshayim yichashlu bara'ah. Wicked people, or weak people, fail when things are tough. As they say, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. Al tikra shmo tough ela tzadik. A weakling falls apart. A person who is weak cannot have emunah either. And this is the secret of our life. We have to remember that the hits that we get all the time, the bangs, the difficulties that we get all the time, are only opportunities for us to understand and to have a choice, and it's in our hands whether we should suffer or to be besimcha. Do we want to deal with the meaningless, which is pain and making some kind of like spiritual accounting, right? Oh, I feel bad. You hurt my feelings. My feelings. Okay, shut up. I don't feel good. I was insulted. You know what I'm talking about, right? Whining. When you do this like this all the time, it's or you want to concentrate in the ikar, in the main part, which is, do you have a vision? Concentrate on your vision, fulfilling your achieving your goals and your objectives, moving on with life, living life to a full extent. What do you want to do? You want to cry how bad you are, how bad things are for you? You want to cry your father is not a millionaire? You want life like baby Trump over there, daddy got everything for him. Well, that's not so good. Because the first thing about it that it's not so good, you never achieved anything in your life. You haven't done a thing. Everything daddy gave you. How are you going to feel fulfilled if you never got anything in your life? The worst thing for a father that has a successful business, which I told you a million times, is to bring his kids back into the business. Let them go work somewhere else. Let them start from the bottom by somebody else. Don't come in rolling into some kind of a holiday vacation like a big cheese. You haven't done anything. It's all because of daddy. Nothing of you. Nothing. You're not a big shot. You're a blank shot. So it's hard for you? Your daddy is not rich? So what? What's your goal, your objective? You're going to cry, poor me, poor me? Keep on going. You have a goal. You have to achieve things. That's why it says, when it says Vayeshev Yaakov, right? The Midrash says, Ratza Yaakov leishev beshalva. Yaakov says, oh, okay, Baruch Hashem, we're in the promised land, everything's good, Hankadari Pichikin is all terrific. Let me not just have some sit there under my fig trees, let me eat some figs, drink some good old wine, we'll learn some Tosfot, learn some Rashi, Rambam, like tranquilo, right? Copacabana. No. Kadosh Baruch Hu said, no, Miyaz kafatz alav rogzo shel Yosef. Right away, bam! Kadosh Baruch Hu gave you something to worry about. Don't look at life as like, people, especially you young guys, are 20 years old, they can't wait to retire. Your life hasn't started yet. You only want to retire? Go to difficulties. Go to the army. Go away from daddy. Mainly go away from mommy. Go eat some food that is disgusting. Disgusting. I remember being in the Air Force Academy, I couldn't tell if I'm drinking tea or I'm drinking coffee. Or I'm drinking garbanzo juice, the whole taste is the same. You don't know what bad food is. And you know what? Made me appreciate good food better. Made me tougher. You get up at 4:30 in the morning. Start, waking up. I thought like I'm in, the re-education camps in Cambodia over there, like screaming you 5 o'clock Viet Cong. It was like crazy what was going on there. But it made you tougher. That's why until today, I don't sleep until 9 o'clock at night, in the morning. And, strolling down like this with my pajamas, having a cup of coffee, davening shacharit 11 o'clock in the afternoon in a thing. No, I'm always up early. That's it. I'm up, I'm going. I always do something from the time I wake up until the time I go to sleep. I don't sleep late. That's the only way, that's life. Life was given for me to live, not to sleep. Sleep is in the grave, not in here. So that's what Yaakov, he says, no, Habibi, it's not like this. Ba'olam hazeh, in this world, we came to work, and work hard. Mucho trabajo, poco dinero. Work hard. To turn darkness into light. To turn bitter into sweet. To turn bad into good. Turn evil into kindness. Look in Israel. What did Israelis like to do until recently? What would they like to do? The best thing. Go to Turkey, all included. Ticket, airfare, food, anything. Hair implants, all included. The Dulce Vita they wanted. Israelis love the Dulce Vita. Go to Rome, have some pasta. What in the world you need to go to Rome to eat pasta, man? It's boiled dough. Right? The Dulce Vita, the good life. To say, I went there, I ate there. You were so involved with the good life that were willing to give back 97% of the West Bank. Or I'm sorry, should I say Judea and Samaria? Correct me. Just so we continue with our lives. Just so Uncle Obama will give us more. Even though he spits on us, it's okay, as long as he gives us some money, it's okay. Abusive relationship. You wanted to sleep quietly? Look what happened to you. We need to understand that. And the bad that it's tzaddik, now you understand why we always said tzaddik veralo, rasha v'tovlo, right? The tzaddik, the ra, when it's difficult for him, for the tzaddik, is actually good. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you a medicine for it. To the rasha, he says, okay, I don't want you to grow, stay where you are, just keep on eating, keep on doing, I don't want to hear from you. If you see you have the Dulce Vita, something, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not so happy with you. The difficulties will make you strong. As they say, whatever doesn't kill you, makes you stronger. Don't be afraid. Get out of the shell that mommy gave you. When I was young, after I left the Air Force, I didn't want to get spoiled, right? It's the first time in my life that I actually, since I was 15, that I was, in my parents' home. I didn't want to get spoiled. Even in the winter, I used to sleep with the windows open, no heat in the room, not to get spoiled. Get up in the cold over there in Israel, the walls are cold.
Floors are very cold.
The floors are ridiculous. How is it to wear a pair of jeans in the morning, right? And it's like, or a pair of pants, like, you don't, frozen. They stand like this. And you go like that, right? It's terrible. The floor, you don't know what to do with the floor. It's like penetrate. I said, I'm not getting weak. I used to close the door so the whole house would not freeze. I used to sleep I have 2 windows in my room. 2 windows open in the winter. That's what I used to do. Anything I could do in my power not to get comfortable, not in terms of torturing myself. I just didn't want to become a wimp. I still remember when I came here, when there was a snowstorm. My mother was here. A big snow. That was a time when they used to have snow. I used to go outside with a t-shirt to shovel the snow. My mother used to scream at me, "You're gonna get sick." I said, "No, I'm gonna get stronger like this. You wear too many sweaters, you get sick." Right, Avner? So now, only a tzaddik, right, sees that the difficulties is basically an opportunity for him to work and to really get from himself the maximum. And this is the secret of success, Rabotai. Don't look for the easy way out. Easy way out will be you'll pay a bigger price than it's not in your bank account to pay. Look to do the job regardless of difficulties. Don't be a wimp, and just for crying out loud, just stop complaining. You complain about everything. Complain about too much salt, too little salt. This is difficult for me. The professor is going to give me a bad grade. He's not giving me a bad grade. I'm not going to. Enough already. Just stop complaining. You're serial complainers. By the way, for you guys, women don't like men that complain. Real women want real men. And real men find solutions, doesn't complain. Right? Every stage, let's just finish here. Every stage in life, even if it's the most difficult part that you're going through, is a part of the journey. Is a part of the journey. And I'm going to tell you something. Until you actually went outside and did some serious camping, and in places that it's hard and it's like wet and there is wind and you can't really get yourself a warm food, and you don't really, this is when you feel alive. Because if you're going to sit by a warm, cozy fireplace, which I love fireplace, but if you sit and never went to set a food up, you're going to fall asleep. You're not going to feel alive. Even the most difficult part of life is a part of this, what we call a journey. With a proper outlook, you can really turn the most painful memories to a building blocks of success and personal growth. If we only able to see the what we call Hashgacha Elyona, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always with us and everything that He does is good. We just need to see that it is good. If we're just going to pay attention, that in every step on the way, we are first of all not stepping alone, we're stepping with HaKadosh Baruch Hu with us. And we pay attention to learn from the difficulties, to make ourselves better, to better serve the rest of the people, and to serve Hashem in this world. Shabbat Shalom.